This is just going to be a quick run through of how I curl my naturally fine and thin hair. I'm going to start off first by sectioning it off into 3 sections, and I'm going to spray my heat protectant on it. The heat protectant that I use is Redken's Iron Shape 11. It is a great thermal spray, but it also has a little bit of hold in it. So I'm going to spray each section, and I'm going to concentrate a little bit extra on the top where I have the most heat damage. And then I'm just going to comb that through and then re-section my hair off so I can start curling. For my top section, I usually will start at my temples and go back. For the middle section, I start at the top of my ears, and then everything below that is for the bottom section. For the bottom section, you'll notice that I'm really only going to concentrate my curls here right behind my ears, these 2 little corners. Everything else, if you have any sort of natural wave or texture to your hair, you could probably skip it. You definitely don't want the back middle section to be very curled. I'm only putting a bend in it because my hair is so straight, it will stick out and look kind of awkward underneath the middle section when it's down. If you do have to curl that back middle section, just make sure to keep your curling iron as vertical as possible and just barely keep the heat on it. You just want a little bit of a bend. Next, we're going to go to the middle section, and as you can see, you're going to comb through each piece of hair prior to curling it. And the key is to curl all of your hair away from your face while angling the curling iron towards your face. By aiming the curling iron towards your face, it's going to direct that hair in that direction. So while it won't be in your face because you've curled it backwards, you're going to have that volume and that face framing effect. You're going to continue curling until you get about to the middle of the back of your head, at which point I will usually start on the opposite side and repeat the same process until the curls meet up in the back. I try as best I can to leave my ends out of the curling iron, especially in that initial curl, but I still kind of run the curling iron through with the clamp kind of opened just to get a little bit of heat on the ends. And then if I want it to be straighter, as I'm pulling the curling iron out, I will just gently pull it straight at the end. And then I grab a mirror and check the back because I always miss that little bitty section. I want to make sure that I don't leave anything out. So I'm going to grab that last piece, curl it, check and make sure I didn't miss any chunks of hair, and then I'm going to start with the top section. So for the top section, I always start at the crown, and I divide the back crown of my hair into 3 sections, 2 corners and a middle. So I'm going to start with that 1 corner, and you can see where my curling iron is positioned. It is not above the crown, it is below, and I've done it in 1 pretty thin but long section. And I'm going to do the same here for the middle. I've got a pretty long section, but I'm going to curl it in 1 chunk, and I'm going to do it below the crown of my hair. If you want more volume on top, then you can pull it up above the crown, but I kind of like my volume to be at the crown and below. I don't want a whole lot of volume on top, so that's how I achieve it by doing this. So this is me doing the very last corner section, the 3rd section for the back, and you can see it's a thin section, but it's fairly long, and it's all curled below the crown. And I'm going to continue that same process all the way through to the front. I'm going to take long sections that are fairly thin, keeping that curling iron vertical. That is key. And you can see where I'm clamping this curling iron. It is not on top of my head, but a little bit more to the side, and I'm pulling the ends slightly straight as I pull the curling iron out. Now I'm gonna just clip back my very front bang section and curl this little side piece here. You'll see me go back later and add a little bit more curl to that piece, but for my very front section, I do comb it forward and bring the curling iron on top of my head. It's the only piece that I curl that way, and I don't leave it on very long because I don't want it super curled. I really just want a little bit of bend into it to keep it away from my face. I'm gonna repeat the same thing on the opposite side of my hair, just keeping long vertical sections and curling them and pulling it slightly at the end. And then I'm just going to grab the mirror and just check and make sure that I didn't leave any pieces out, or if there's anything that needs to be recurled. That one front piece, I'm going to throw a little bit more curl into it. I will typically then run my fingers through my hair and then check in a mirror just to make sure that everything is laying and curled the way I like it. And then I am gonna go in with my pick and kind of loosen it up a little bit more. At this point, I use my fingers to kind of get the hair to lay the way that I want it to lay. And then I will use my texture spray. I'm using the Pureology Wind Tossed Texture Finishing Spray to give it a little bit of texture and stay. Just lift up kind of the sections and spray it in there, and I shake it as I do it. This is a great texture spray. And I just spray it all over. And that is about all I do. I will usually get about 4, maybe 5 days out of these curls. They just loosen up as each day goes.